Dr. Grant Linklater from Young Sheldon is a character who I find pretty interesting. I would say that he was likely created as a character with two purposes in mind. One is to act as sort of an alternate for Dr. John Sturgis, someone to fill that role when he's not around, someone who's, interacting with Sheldon at school, be his teacher, occasional mentor. And the second reason is basically someone who there's this comedy that comes from the way that he's constantly annoyed by Sheldon. And even though throughout the majority of the show they do not have the best relationship, he's constantly finding Sheldon to be a nuisance, I do think there does come a point in the series, particularly in the seventh and final season, where he develops a bit of a fondness for Sheldon. We see this in some smaller things, like in the episode where Georgie and Mandy decide to elope, and they have the dinner celebration afterwards with the family. Dr. Linklater is the one who drives Sheldon from school to the dinner, as a favor to him, ends up staying there, eating with the family, which is nice. But I think we see this the biggest in one of the final episodes of the series, where Sheldon is trying to figure out what grad school he wants to attend. And while this is going on, Professor Hagelmeyer, the head of his school, East Texas Tech, is like, okay, we need to convince Sheldon to continue his education here, because having him here gets us like all these like great donations and grants and money, stuff that helps our school out a lot. And she asked Sturgis and Linklater to convince him, since they, are the ones who know him the best there. And for most of the episode, this is what they're trying to do. And towards the end, they're like, they've actually convinced him to stay there instead of going to one of these more, difficult, challenging schools like Caltech or MIT. But then they have this moment where they're like, we can't do this. The both of them are like, this isn't the right thing to do. And of course you expect this from Sturgis, because he does love Sheldon and he views himself as a mentor and friend. But even with Linklater, he goes against what it is his boss wants him to do and is like, we have to do the right thing here. Not just for Sheldon, but for society, for science. So even if he doesn't totally like Sheldon all the time, he does have a respect for him, which I think is nice.